I watched episode 2 of The Chosen last night, and hopefully you've seen it. It gives a really interesting perspective on today's gospel in two ways. First, Jesus talks about that new wine for fresh skins. Like, Jesus didn't come just to help us out a little bit. He came to make our whole lives new. He came to change everything, like, completely. And Mary of Magdalene, she gives probably the most profound testimony I've ever heard in this episode of The Chosen, when Nicodemus comes to Mary and he's trying to figure out what happened to her. And she can't really explain it either, but she says this: "Here's what I can tell you. I was one way, and now I'm completely different. And the thing that happened in between was him." It's just the most amazing testimony. I was one way, and now I'm completely different. And the thing that happened in between was him. That's just like the best testimony I've ever heard. I was so struck by it. It's this idea that Jesus has come to make us completely different. And she gives such a good testimony to it. And then the second thing is, it's, just because, we've had these encounters with Jesus doesn't mean we're perfect. We're still works in progress. And we see this at the end of the episode when Mary Magdalene's hosting this Shabbat dinner. And this is like her first time in a long time doing the Shabbat, so she doesn't really remember a lot of the details, and she's really worried about it. And she has these guests come, and she's trying to recall like all the different procedures. And then Jesus knocks on the door, and then there's this interaction, and then he's like, "Can I come in?" And Jesus comes in, and it's just masterful how Jesus brings such peace and comfort to the whole situation. Like, her greatest worry about making sure she got everything right is all of a sudden there's like this peace, like, it's okay, like, Jesus is here. And we see this in the gospel. Like, the greatest worry these people have are this thing about fasting, and Jesus just says he makes it all in relationship to himself as the bridegroom. So he completely changes like the worry that these people have into a relationship with him. And that's what happened with Mary. She had this big worry about trying to make sure she got everything right in the Shabbat dinner. But then all of a sudden it's like Jesus sat right across from her, and you can just see like, wow, it's just this huge sigh of relief. Like, okay, Jesus is here, and that's all that matters. And I think this is one of the ways that we can continually have this experience to say, I was one way, now I'm completely different, and the thing that happened in between was him, is to invite Jesus into our worries. Like, what is the greatest worry that we have right now? And Jesus is knocking on the door of that worry right now. We have to open up the door, and then he's like, hey, can I come in? We have to invite him into that worry. And he wants to sit across the table from us and just look at us and say, okay, just focus on me. It's okay. And as we do this, just to name that worry, whatever it might be, what's the greatest worry that we have right now? Just invite Jesus. Okay, Jesus, whatever it might be, Jesus, come into the worries that I have about COVID. Jesus, I invite you into this worry right now. Help me to look at you. I need you to speak to me, bring peace to my heart. Just bring him into that greatest worry. We'll be able to continually say, like Mary of Magdalene, I was one way, now I'm completely different, and the thing that happened in between was him.